why the switch happens. So if I am now working for a company or an industry where bundles are predominant way of selling, predominant product design, predominant service design, should I just force it and try to go just a bit different for the sake of it? Or like, what are the triggers that make you think, oh, maybe we should unbundle? And I think we discussed one, which is like consumer behavior, right?
Yeah.
Do any other come to mind? I mean, I have a couple of more, but if you have anything, Franz, you can also start first.
I think a lot of the things that made bundling possible was technology. So just being able to host, I don't know, a few million songs and just be able to sell one or two, as if you, so it's not as easy to unbundle if you would have to buy one CD with one song, right? So I think this technology perspective does make sense.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. And internet was the big one, I think, that enabled a lot of this in the last 10, 15 years. Maybe AI is going to be a new one soon, because AI could kind of bundle also different software into one.
Yeah.
VR, AR, let's see.
I think the one thing that, I mean, we were talking about triggers and enablers, but sometimes it feels for me, so I also thought about companies that do unbundling that you don't like, right? So first we talked about companies bundling that you might not like, right? For example, if I buy a bundle and I don't use half of the stuff, I might not like this. So that's a clear case for me. But on the other hand, there are some examples that currently unbundle. So it feels like that's the freedom of things, right? I can buy every single thing as I want, but that actually feels forced. And the only driver for this seems to be monetization. And I'm giving you an example now that makes this maybe more graspable. Like when you think of airplanes, what they were doing is they were unbundling a formerly bundled product to basically squeeze you, right? So first you bought your airplane ticket, everything was involved. Now you're buying your ticket, then you're buying your reservation, your luggage, your drinks, your meals, your priority boarding. So they're basically forcefully unbundling something that is actually much better if it was unbundled, if it was bundled, in my opinion, to, I think, monetize their product better. And obviously you can say, well, I wouldn't have the option to buy a very cheap flight if it wasn't for the unbundling. But in many cases, for me, it feels completely forced and just like squeezing technique.
I think that's the third. So I wrote like three kind of forces, enabling forces or like shifting forces for bundling versus unbundling. So one is the user needs, the other one is technology, the third one is business needs.
Yeah.
Some companies are kind of forcing it. I haven't thought about this particular aspect, as you said. So one could be just better monetization. Sometimes it's misaligned with what users want, but sometimes it can be aligned with what users want, which is the example from the music industry.
Yeah.
Where you could just say, I'm just going to buy this one song for €1 and that's it. Another one I think is like, it's a big decision for a company. Are you bundling or unbundling? And what you see with many companies is like they're first small and then they consolidate. It means they start to buy smaller startups because then you can have economies of scale. So you're better. Yeah, you just can generate more revenue and more profit. And then once they get too big, they also unbundle itself, as companies, because like, oh, now our economies of scale are negative. So now we need to sell certain businesses or departments, not departments, but business units. So essentially like product lines and so on. And through this have a better focus. So I think this is also another thing to maybe play as, this is more like a question for founders and business designers. It's like, are we in the focus stage or are we in the scale stage? In the scale stage, many times you want to kind of go into bundling, and maybe in the focus. So what did I say now? So in the scale stage, you want to go into bundling, and in the focus stage, you want to go into unbundling. So like, just do one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, fully agree. So that's usually also a way of growth, like, right? So when you have your dominant product already established, another way of growth is adding another product that actually not only has economies of scale when it comes to size, but also economies of scope and basically complementing your product. So it does make sense to bundle also for users because they want to use something together.